And welcome back, everyone, to this Game 3 of MG Blaze versus Pendulum Gaming. It's a best of 5, and we're going to Game 3 with Pendulum's back to the wall here. I'm Random Minion Caster, and casting alongside me for Game 3 will be Rooktor. How are you doing, Rooktor?
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to see what Pendulum are bringing to the table. They do have to mix things up here for game number 3 if they're trying to get it to a game number 4. MG Blaze looking very strong.
For sure, and it looks like they have mixed it up a little bit here in the picks and bans, as we have that up here. MG Blaze is going to be on the blue side this game, and Pendulum on the red side here.
Yeah, again, they favored this early Jarvan pick up here for Timic. We'll have to see how that fares into the Elise pick coming out there. A little bit of a controversial pick coming out here with the first pick of the Senna, Set, and Vayne. Had a little bit of a discussion about that. Very interesting to see the Vayne and Senna sort of in the same combination.
Yeah, and I'm really not a huge fan of this Senna Vayne if they are really going to be appearing in the bot lane. I know that we are unsure if that's going to be the case, and if it is a Senna Vayne, I think that's a really difficult matchup to play, much less into an Ashe who will guarantee an initiate on an immobile Senna. And yeah, with showing that early just feels really rough for me here, and I get the feeling that MG Blaze might just be letting up a little bit on the gas pedal there. Their composition doesn't seem to have much cohesion here to me. A lot of pick potential, but that's about it. You've got a Senna and Elise long range pick, but other than that, the team just seems to want to brawl a little bit. There's no team fight cohesion. I look over to Pendulum Gaming, and I know that Luna had mentioned in the past 2 games that he really doesn't like Pendulum's drafting and the way they're playing here, and it looks like they've tried to mix it up, but still, I don't see cohesion on Pendulum side either. You get the pick from Ashe, maybe a follow-up from Jarvan. It looks like they kind of want a team fight, but it's a really conditional, squishy team fight here on the side of Pendulum Gaming. They need that Mega Gnar. That has to be one of their fight conditions here for themselves. And I just have to wonder, Game 1, it looked like Killer Unicorns had Dirty Hobo's number here, but picking a Gnar seems really random. Game 2, we did see the Syndra for MG Zyra being manhandled by a Rumble from Surf, and yet we see the Rumble left open, but they didn't pick it. They decided to go with the Fizz instead, and they decided to ban the Syndra when it seemed they had Syndra's number. So I'm not sure I really like the pick and ban here from both teams, but just given the mechanical prowess of MG Blaze, I think I have to favor MG Blaze going into this game here.
Yeah, I like the adaptation. They picked the Sejuani last time for CPEC. They're going for the slightly more tempo-heavy pick of this spider coming out here. Sorry, I forgot the name of the champion.
Elise, don't worry. It's hard to remember Elise. We've only seen her a
Elise.
couple of times here.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, at least coming out here for CPEC definitely has that early tempo, as we mentioned. Zyra picking up on this Annie as well. Got banned out. Had the chance to be able to blind pick the Syndra like they did in game number 1, was it as well? And they played it again in game number 2. Had a lot of proficiency on this champion. So getting banned out in the second half of this. Going on to the Annie, definitely just an ult bot coming out there. A little bit of move speed as well can be very nice. That E coming out with the move speed, really nice changes to be able to gap close and more aggression, as we said, coming out on the side of MG Blaze coming into the game.
For sure, and the teams have loaded here onto Summoner's Rift. Both teams gonna spawn in here, and in terms of level 1, I actually think on the side of MG Blaze, they have a pretty decent level 1 in terms of CC if they decide to pick up Annie's W early into the game here, the Incinerate, and just stack that, but it looks like they won't do that. So if that's the case, then I think they actually don't necessarily want a level 1 fight against a Bard and Ashe. And Fizz too, if he takes that troll pole to start the game, can't do a lot of damage, and it does look like Pendulum is going to look for that invade.
Yeah, they're looking for Vayne up into the top side here. Dirty Hobo has got this mark spotted. Potentially onto a wall, doesn't want to get stunned up by enough irrelevant. Gonna retreat. Drop down a ward respectively for both sides here.
Yeah, so I actually really like this this adaptation from MG Blaze here to send the Vayne onto Dirty Hobo into the top lane. I think that's actually going to be significantly better. It was a nice flex. I would have liked to see the Vayne picked up a little later in the drop phase there, but nevertheless, a Senna set bot lane makes a lot more sense to me. We can see that fasting Senna and set really strong. The Vayne into Gnar matchup, though, I'm not 100% sure that's necessarily very heavily Vayne-sided. Mini Gnar does have the range, will be able to trade well against the Vayne, but it does fit Dirty Hobo style for sure. A lot of, there we say it, senseless aggression into the top lane, and if you do get a hit on that Vayne, it will be an absolute monster. So not necessarily a pick that I'd like to see in terms of strategic play, but definitely fitting into Dirty Hobo's wheelhouse in that top lane there.
Yeah, unless you do get that double hop on the Gnar, though, it is a little bit difficult for him to get close with that Condemn. So a lot of safety here on the side of Dirty Hobo, who's just looking to scale up in the game. Timic, however, with that red buff, looking for the knock-up, doesn't quite find it. Hobo, aware of the situation, just backs up defensively, going to be able to pick up a lot of these minions as well.
Yeah,
just tumbles in, a little bit of a trade, but he's all fine up in the top.
Yeah, and that was just well played from Dirty Hobo. He didn't even have any wards, just roughly knew that he would be at risk. And he is very squishy, a great gank target for level 2 Jarvan, who has that burst. Combine it with a Gnar who gets level 2 as well, and you've got a good chance. And that does give a nice bit of experience lead to Killer Unicorns in that top lane there, and will help him basically to try and even out that lane. Because if Vayne gets ahead, well, Killer Unicorns is going to have a hell of a time trying to lane against it.
Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about this bottom lane of this set Senna as well. Generally, it's really nice to have something that can really help with the poke potentially with the Catfish himself as well. Engagements coming out all on the side, but here comes Snugglebutt in the bottom lane, just playing aggressive. Bubblelift can't really step up too much, needs to just be careful, needs to get the levels, and can't really help that Senna trade in the early game, so Stack's going to be a little bit slow coming out here for Warbucks.
Yeah, and that Bard pickup from the side of Irrelevant, I think, was a great selection there, because they do have now a lot of poke. Ashe, with the volley, at the early levels, has one of the highest pokes of all the ADCs. Can abuse that, and with the slow passive can also help prevent Bubblelift from engaging, unless that happens and he gets hit.
And the pull-in, Snugglebutt now has to play defensive. Timic coming into the backside, just delaying it for Wardbox, who already got exhausted. Can't quite find the knock-up onto Bubblelift as they're just retreating back defensively. Gets a little bit of a tower shot. Now they're looking back onto their Wardbox, however. No health, no mana to be able to stay in this lane anymore.
Yeah, and that was more Timic having to come in and salvage a bad situation there. I was just going to say Ashe has a good laning phase, because she can slow Bubblelift, slow the set, stop the engages there, unless you get hit by the root from Senna, and that's exactly what we saw there. If Senna can land a root, they can get a lot of pressure, but if not, Snugglebutt and Irrelevant should be able to continue their poke out with their range advantage, and so we'll have to see in that bot lane how it goes.
So back up into the top side, hop away from that cocoon. Again, another bind happens into the bottom. Bubblelift going forward, looks for Nerf. Irrelevant has to flash away defensively. Flash forward there for Bubblelift, securing the first blood.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter where he's ADC or not. Bubblelift able to pick up those kills, doing a lot of work there. Props to Wardbox. He's getting root after root after root each time.
Forward, aggressive onto Snugglebutt under the tower. Doesn't want to take a tower shot in return, though. Has to back away, trading his flash for Snugglebutt. Dirty Hobo up into the top. Just trying to survive this early laning phase. Has teleport. Has a nice yes lead as well, so he won't mind basing at this point.
Yeah, well played from Dirty Hobo. He's getting himself back into the game after that early gank here. Killer Unicorn is looking like he's trading some of his CS just for lane pressure and dominance here, and I think that works well for him.
Zyra in the mid lane. Smurf going forward. Ignite comes down. They're tanking the tower. Smurf gonna fall just to the aggression. Level 6 comes out for Zyra as he gets a 2v1 in the middle lane and comes out on top.
That was absolutely dirty from Zyra. I mean, level 6 is huge, and he hits it before Sirm does. If Sirm hit that level 6 first, that would have been a kill. But Zyra hits it just a little bit too soon. Timic's in the area, and I think that actually hurt Sirm a little bit because he didn't hit 6 fast enough, and that ends up being a 2-for-1. And I've got to question Timic as well. That's 3 attempted ganks now 3 missed flag and drags. He doesn't get the CC down on any of them, misses the damage on all of them, and that just means that he shows up, doesn't get the damage down, and then just ends up feeding the enemy lanes.
Yeah, you're right there, random minion caster. You're really not finding those flag and drags. Very detrimental. Just needs to be careful of that because they're not really getting dodged out with. He's just not quite having the range to be able to gap close. Difficult to really gank some of these lanes as well. Just needs a little bit more follow-up CC. Obviously, you do need that level 6 Chum the Waters coming out of that Fizz.
Yeah, and that's going to cost him a lot.
CPEC finally gets knocked up. Pierce comes Smurf with that Chum the Waters down. Going to be able to secure it onto CPEC. Now they're going for the stun up there for Zyra. Goes back onto Smurf. Has to run away. Timmick coming forward. Lands yet another one. He's got the advantage now going forward. Another Radiant coming back in. Smurf so low, however. Dirty Hobo comes in. He's got all the movement speed in the world going forward now. Another Radiant going to go down for the last little bit. Double kill going over to Dirty Hobo as they're looking to push forward on the side of MG Blaze.
And that ends up being a 1 for 2 there. It's a little rough because finally Timmick starts landing his flag and drags, but he's a level down. It makes it so hard for his team to win fights when he is so far down and so squishy. Does manage to get out alive though, but looks like they're going to lose pressure on Drake for this, and that's an Ocean Drake. You give that to MG Blaze early in the game. We saw what happened when a team gets an Ocean Drake early. They become so hard to fight. MG Blaze got it last game too, and it gave him so much sustain.
He has broken the game wide open yet again. 2 kills going over to the scaling veins in the top lane means that Killer Unicorn's going to have difficulty to survive yet again. Going forward, Dragon going over to MG Blaze, the gold lead going over to MG Blaze. What can Pendulum do to get back into this game, random minion?
Well, if you are Pendulum right now, you kind of just need to sit back a little bit. Wait till your lanes hit 6 before you gank again. Timmick is a little bit down now. Has managed to recover a little bit, but still, it's going to be difficult. He needs to gank top. He needs to gank mid.
Chum the Waters into the middle lane. Traded for Annie. Going aggressive. Smurf has to just dash away from this Annie Tibbers. Just chasing him down on the tower. Has to be a little bit careful. Needs to get that stun back up before he can really engage yet again. Over into the bottom lane. Snugglebutts gets caught yet again. One more water will do it, but gets the heal out of Never Relevant. Timmick into the mid is level 5. Doesn't have Cataclysm. Just needs a stun for Zyra. Fox it, but here comes Smurf coming in. Shut down. Going over to the Fizz.
And that's exactly like I was saying what they need to do. Timmick needs to gank the solo lane, so he needs to hit 6 to bring the CC. Wait for his bot lane to hit 6. His mid lane is pretty much even right now, able to 1v1. That's an assassin. Get Fizz a hit. He can 1v1 anybody on the other side. Everybody except for maybe Bubble Lift if he gets a hit. And if you gank top lane, Killer Unicorns has enough CC, has enough tankiness to try and take down Dirty Hobo as well.
Showstopper back into the waiting arms of Warbox. He trails him as well. Bubble Lift playing so aggressive. Here comes the call of the Dawning Shadow into the bottom lane. And Nerfa Radiant goes down. 3 deaths over onto this Bard.
And I think that was just greed from Irrelevant there. Chose to stick around even though it's Snugglebutt based, and he was already down. He knew that the ultimates were available from Set and Senna as well. So really, really risky and greedy to try and stay in that lane. He ends up paying for it with his life here. Now Snugglebutt has to be careful that same thing doesn't happen there.
Chum the Waters used yet again into the middle lane. Zyra on the firing line. Smurf manages to secure it. CPEC is here, level 6, however. Timmick on hot pursuit to be able to get his mid laner out of any trouble.
And that's a perfect focal point to try and break the game back even for Pendulum. Symph is doing great right now. We do see this side of MG going for that Herald, but that's going to be a 3-2 right now if Killer Unicorn just decides to finally come down here and assist his team. And they can make a comeback from here.
Cocoon up. Dirty Hobo looking aggressive. Timmick goes in. Cataclysm onto 2 as the repel will come down onto Smurf. But it's Timmick who's on the front line. Dirty Hobo gets his 3rd kill of the game. Nerfa Radiant comes out. Double kill now going over to Dirty Hobo as he's picked up a red buff. He can go aggressive forward. Looking for the stun. Another Cocoon lands onto Killer Unicorn. Going back on. He's just on a slither of health, but he's surviving. The stun comes down for Nerfa Relevant. But it's level 7 and a quadra kill going over to Dirty Hobo.
That is so bad for the side of Pendulum Gaming. They could have turned it, but just not on the same page there. Killer Unicorns didn't come down. If he had been there 1 second, 2 seconds earlier, the Cataclysm comes down. You get the 2-man stun into the wall, into the Cataclysm, you're gonna get kills left and right. Instead, you take so long that Dirty Hobo gets to get all that damage off of Vayne. She was already ahead a little bit, and now she's 6-0 right now, and that's Dirty Hobo, not just any Vayne.
That roam into the top means that Showstopper comes down into the bottom. Snugglebutt falls yet again. Traded, however, on the side of Snugglebutt, but he's not going to be able to pick up any of these minions. 48 minions at a level minute. An 80 carry is such a troubling point here. Comes Tibbers down to the top lane. CPEC, the cocoon goes wide as they're pushing onto this nub. Meganar's going to be coming off cooldown, but it's not going to come down in time as CPEC sinks in the fangs.
And I really like what MG Blaze is doing here. They're pushing, they're accelerating the pace of the game. They're not giving Pendulum time to reset here. We see bot lane, they're just constantly pressuring. And Bubblelip not afraid to dive that turret and just force the issue there. He did die, did give over a small bounty, a 200 gold bounty over to the side of Irrelevant, but it accelerates the game, gives the pressure. And then we see that in all the other lanes as well. Now they're pushing that top lane as fast as they can. And I think it's great.
Rift Herald has been propped, but it's in the bottom yet again. Snugglebot just on the far line. Can't quite secure it with the Dawning Shadow. One more auto will, though, to the top side. They're going aggressive onto Zyra. They're pushing forward. Timid, can he find anything? Cocoon goes down as well with the stun. Now for Raven, can't do anything, and they hold off the 3v2 in the top lane.
Yeah, and for that, they will get a ton of damage on the bot lane, potentially getting their first turret here for MG Blaze, and it's Dirty Hobo just doing work. You give him a 6-0, and his what looks like stupid aggression initially suddenly becomes game-winning aggression. It's well applied pressure when he gets ahead, and now teams have to shut him down. And meanwhile, you've got Zyra and CPEC as well able to duel really well because they're ahead.
Killer Unicorn has that Mega Knight, pushes him back, but doesn't quite get the tower shot. Maybe he needed that flash forward. Phobo and the Condemn is there. Really nice tumble to come out of the damage, and he's able to secure it into the middle lane. Ignite up onto Zyra. I'm not sure he's going to be able to tick down. Needs one more, secures it for his side, and Smump is doing a little bit of work here on the Fizz. Can he do enough to get his team back in the game for Pendulum?
The other problem is the mismatch right now. Serm getting Zyra is great, it's good, but the issue is you need to get him on to the Fed carry of MG Blaze, which is Dirty Hobo. In an ADC Assassin matchup, the Assassin usually has the upper hand here, so you want to be throwing Serm at Dirty Hobo instead of constantly throwing him at Zyra. And instead they just keep trying to match Killer Unicorns. We've already seen that Killer Unicorns is too far behind right now to do anything, and now MG Blaze picks up their second Drake. Cloud Drake just means there's going to be that many more ultimates coming out.
The arrow, Enchanted Arrow, comes down onto the bottom side, but Bubblelift survives all the while. Warbox now going forward onto Snugglebutt, and Bubblelift is immortal on this set right now.
Yeah, MG's just picking up the pace. They're taking another turret, pressuring another turret, and while they're doing this, Pendulum can't reset properly. We're constantly seeing either Snugglebutt or Irrelevant sort of separated there. They don't quite have the numbers advantage. They don't have the rotations fast enough. Pendulum needs to calm down for a second, decide what they need to abandon. They've lost 2 turrets in the bot lane, so there's a very long lane there. Mid lane, they've now lost the outer turret. So personally, if I were them, I would just abandon the top lane outer turret right now. Instead, try and get a numbers advantage somewhere. Get a pick somewhere right now, and just go from there. Shrink the area they have to defend to try and get themselves back in the game, because they're down now almost 10k.
Yeah, on that reset, CPEC facing a little bit late, potentially wanting to sneak this dragon if they can do it, but they just don't have the vision control to be able to come down into this bottom side. We see Snugglebutt 61 CS right now, just sitting on that Build Water Cutlass. Just nowhere near enough to be able to shred Bubblelift, who has that Trinity Force and that Cutlass. A full Trinity Force up on a sort of a supposed lane opponent, and that Umbral Glaive now finished a lot of damage coming out of Warbox, and you just can't compete on this bottom side of the map anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, taking a quick look at the gold totals.
Snugglebutt gonna get knocked up in the mid lane, but the Haymaker, just so much shielding and healing coming out. Gonna fall to Smump yet again. That is your pressure point on the map. Use this Fidge to rotate him around. Get these picks where the damage is good.
Exactly, and that's how PLG needs to come back. Get those numbers advantage. Get Serf catching the people to kill them, because he's the richest guy. He's got the most items on his team here, almost completing the Lich Bane.
Zyra's being caught out. Tibbers comes down onto Timic, flashing away, looking for a little bit extra. Can he manage to get him out? Warbox with the heal as well. Killer Unicorn going to be able to secure that. Going Mega Gnar, maybe looking for Warbox. Here comes Nerf Radiant for the close. Cocoon goes wide as the Cataclysm comes down onto Warbox. He just can't move out of that zone. Shut down. CPEC now going in, trading for his life. Now needs to get up. He's got double buffs. What can he do? Maybe look to go a little bit aggressive onto himself. He's going to need to do something as Nerf Radiant cuts off his path. At least Killer Unicorn exposed as Dirty Hobos, waiting arms, says, yes, please, I will go 8-0 as they go up to the top lane. Showstopper just for the display, and they'll be able to crash the wave into the top tower.
And we keep seeing these flashes of brilliance from Pendulum. The rotation was good. They went on Zyra, they got Zyra. They turned around, tried to pick up Ward Box, and I think that's the issue there. They started to overextend. If they pick up Ward Box, they need to disengage right away. They waited too long. CPEC able to come back, and Dirty Hobo showing up huge right now. They did the right thing by moving away from Dirty Hobo. You don't want to fight him, you just want to wave clear against him. But they don't have a ton of wave clear either right now. Fizz not a good wave clear champion, only the Ashe, but Snugglebutt's so far behind right now, he can't wave clear effectively.
Can't step up, they'll just get absolutely blown up. You're right, random minion caster. Here comes Timic looking for something, but doesn't find it. Chum the Waters does, however. Dirty Hobo getting busted, secured for the Fizz. Now Smoke trying to get away. Very nice Zhonya's. Ashe Arrow goes wide as well, but when he comes back down out of it, he's gonna get killed. Nice double stun, however. Snugglebutt going backwards, not forwards. Maybe this is a 3v2. Maybe this is what you can take. Zyra not moving out from the mid lane. Warbox coming there too. Nara's not on the map, has teleport. Zyra into the back end of it, gonna find that level 9. Timic stunned up. Here's a 3-man unit for MG Blaze, securing yet another kill.
And what on earth was Timic doing there? Trying to imitate the red buff? I mean, it's just this positioning. It's questionable decisions on the side of Pendulum. Killer Unicorns opting to push out the bot lane rather than rotate to the rest of his team there.
Snugglebutt now going aggressive on Zyra, but he just gets stunned up. But Zyra will fall as he just gets punted into the tower. The Tempered Fate slows it down a little bit. Nice double stun. Nothing really playing fairly well. Showstopper into the back end. Snugglebutt on the foreign line gets exhausted, but it doesn't matter. Bubble Lift will fall to the tower. Repel coming out here into the waiting arms of Smoke. Flashes into a Cocoon, however. Nice little bit of a disengage there for CPET.
Yeah, and both teams here, I think, getting a little hyphy. MG Blaze diving harder than he needed to. Zyra getting caught under a turret, and on the other hand, we see Pendulum. Snugglebutt also stepping up a little too far. Killer Unicorn's positioning, again, questionable. But that being said, that's kind of an even trade, and if you can get an even trade as Pendulum, that's a win. You can pick up bounties, you can get yourself back into the game.
Timic just about managing to clear out a pink, but another one comes instantly down there for Wardbox. Now they're taking the scuttle. They're looking to corral them away from this river, away from this third dragon coming out with this mountain stacking. They aren't a really great team for this mountain, but here comes Timic. Cataclysm onto 2. Nerf Radiant going aggressive forward onto Dirty Hobo. Will secure it as well. Now they can control this Drake, maybe. They can look for it. 500 health. 300 goes down over onto the side of Ashe as they manage to secure it for Pendulum, slowing it down. Zyra chasing the back end of it. Warbox back in the bot lane. And Pendulum find a fight.
And this is sheer arrogance from MG Blaze. They started that up without their jungler. And now they're going to lose that fight. They lost 4-1, and Serp doing great work in that fight. Right away, zoning out Zyra. Completely wasn't able to get in the fight. Tibbers didn't get the damage that they needed to for a team fight. And this is how Pendulum gets him back in the game. MG Base starts to slip up, getting a little sloppy. They punish them. They get the dragon. They get a 4 kills. Now they're going to get a turret. And CPEC.
Fate slammed right into the middle. Never really been solo. Gonna go down. Has to be careful now. Low health bars all around. CPEC in a 4v1. Takes 1 kill. Can he find another? Maybe onto Snugglebutt. Cocoon goes there as well as a secure coming out with the Dawning Shadow. Going aggressive, and MG Blaze get it back.
As a viewer, Ruktor, I feel really pumped up right now. The action non-stop, 26-15 right now in a 20-minute game. I am so amped up. As a caster, as an analyst, though, I am dying inside right now from the teams. Basically, they're just looking to fight. Like, what on earth was that? They get the Tempered Fate on CPEC. They should have surrounded and killed him. They opt not to do that instead. Now CPEC able to turn around and get Snugglebutt. And they're just going to lose another objective now. The objectives are not being taken off of good vision, good play. It's just people slip up, you get killed, and suddenly an objective is gone. And now MG Blaze in the driver's seat with Baron.
brazen positioning there for CPEC, managing to secure what he needed. Just delaying it, waiting for that shielding coming out from Warbucks. Now they're looking to go on the offensive in the middle lane here with Baron buff into them. 5-man stacking coming out here for MG Blaze. What can they do? They do not have Mega Gnar as he just hops backwards, disengaging. But Timic says, yes, I want the Cataclysm, and just gets pushed back into it by the Vayne. Dirty Hobo playing so on the front right now. Bubble Lift trading places with him, forcing the flash out of Killer Unicorn as Navaradian looking for a bit of a slow, but they're just there for the minions. They're just there for the tower in the mid. Now they're onto the inhibitor.
And that fight, I was just going to say, they needed to fight there. They chose the right time to fight. But again, the execution from Pendulum Gaming, I just feel like it's been getting sloppier and sloppier as the games go on. I think their mental is slightly tilted. Ret Initiate was Timic is Jarvan, and he's helping. His Cataclysm
nice arrow, however, onto Dirty Hobo. Secures it, the kill onto the top laner of MG Blaze. Now Pendulum maybe could look for something. Mega Gnar is active. They're looking onto Wardbox. Has to try and disengage. Not quite going to find it as goes in for that one. And Elise will fall. CPEC goes down as well as they corral a little bit of control back. But losing that Nexus tower at 22 minutes is a heavy blow here for Pendulum.
And yeah, 22 minutes, you lost the inhibitor, but I actually think this is an opportunity for Pendulum right now. It's bad. It's going to mean that you're pressuring, but at the same time, Baron's not going to be up for another 4 minutes plus. Dragon's coming out about 2 minutes, but it's not the critical Dragon here, not at soul point right now. And right now, minions are going to be pushing up mid. You can sit back, you can farm, and you can try and get back into the game. Snugglebutt right now hasn't even hit 100 farm. The highest farm in the game, 156 on Dirty Hobo at 22 minutes. That's not great. Both teams have been so busy farming champions that their CS has now fallen behind. So I think this is the way that Pendulum can try and slow the pace of the game down, try and get themselves back in, because that was a really good catch. That was a 700 gold bounty from CPEC's death onto Snugglebutt, so that at least that will help Snugglebutt get back in the game. She's completed the Blade of the Ruined King, has the Zeal. We'll be looking to complete the Zeal item next, and we'll hopefully then be able to match Bubble Lift's Triforce and Blade of the Ruined King. But they cannot keep doing this sort of sloppy engage like they did in the last major fight, where Timic Cataclysm that ended up zoning his own team out of the fight. Only Surf and him were in the middle of the fight. He made it basically a 5v2 there. They can't afford another one of those mistakes.
Right, Timic wanted in and Killer Unicorn hopped out. A little bit of indecisiveness coming out of Pendulum as they're all out into this bottom lane. They still have a little bit of this Baron buff to go as they reset fairly quickly onto the map. Bubble Lift going forward and gets the pick onto Navaradian. That's the support down. CPEC now going forward onto Smooth. Has to try and recall. The kill goes down onto CPEC. Smooth goes golden, but Bubble Lift is there. The recipient of that double kill going over Smooth. But now Dirty Hobo goes in with the Fine Lower, sinks his aggression forward, and he's just chasing them into the Nexus.
And this is going to be game. Killer Unicorn's not able to 1v1 really anybody standing right now. So, yeah, 32-20. The final score here in a 24+ minute game. And that's going to be a clean sweep by MG Blaze.
3-0 going to MG Blaze. Pendulum finding a few fights. Smooth playing fairly well in this mid lane on the Fizz, but just not managing to translate that. Such a difference in that top and bottom lane as well. Nice little bit of a pickup going defensive with that Frozen Mallet. Haven't really seen that on a Senna who does go for that Glacial Augment. So many slows and so much control coming out of the team of NG Blaze. A very aggressive game, as we said, 52 kills in 24 minutes game. Every 2 minutes, or well, minute, there was 2 deaths, and it was rampant.
Yeah, definitely one of the fastest tempoed games we've ever watched here in the Coalition League. 2 kills per minute is absolutely incredible when you think about that. It's almost as if that's 1 every 30 seconds. That's basically as soon as you respawn, somebody dies on the map whenever somebody respawns on the map here. And, you know, I want to put kudos out to Surf here. He's doing absolute work. When 10-6-3, he's half the team's kills here, despite his team constantly being shoved in. He actually managed to catch up with Dirty Hobo in terms of kill, 10-3-4 on Dirty Hobo's Vayne here. So kudos to Surf on Pendulum Gaming for keeping his team in it.
Exactly. Wonderful play from both teams. It will be MG Blaze going forward into the semi-finals here at the Coalition League. Very much looking forward to see if they can keep this roll going on and see if they can get into finals as well. Do we have the bracket set already to see who they're facing on the other side of it?
They will be facing the winner of either 100 Weebs or C2, depending on who wins that particular match. But either way, it should be interesting for sure. C2 has bulked up their roster recently and definitely a lot stronger than they were at the beginning of the season. And 100 Weebs fluctuates a lot. They've got really high highs and really low lows. So if it's the 100 Weebs at their peak showing up next week, I think it should be a very, very good series against MG Blaze. Yeah, and MG Blaze now, I think this game 3 will give other teams something to consider about, because up to this point they've primarily been playing that 4-1 split style here, but this game they're going with something completely different. We're seeing Zyron something other than Syndra, Cassiopeia, or Vladimir. Bubble Lift playing Set with the Fasting Center on Ward Box. That's something very, very different as well. And CPEC, early game jungler, did extremely well. 8-3 and 7 on that Elise. So definitely something for teams to consider here, that you might have a very different MG Blaze even if you can't beat that 4-1 composition they have here. And with that, like we said, this is the end of the series here, so we will be closing out this cast. Thank you guys all for joining us on behalf of everyone here on Coalition League, and we look forward to seeing all of you guys next week for our semifinals, where we'll see MG Blaze play either 100 Weebs or C2. So we'll see all of you next week.